Okay. Today, guys, we are going to discuss one of the most critical topic for the Jenkins. Okay. What I mean by this. So let me, guys, first give you a very high level background what I'm talking about. Then I talk about what exactly we are going to do today. Okay. But yeah, as a quick summary of my yesterday class, we have discussed about how to automate a job creation. Okay, that's called job as code, and we use a concept called DSL. Okay, that's what, guys, we have done. But if you try to understand the complete uh, uh, process, the process something like this. Okay, let me again, guys, very quickly explain you the entire process. How normally we manage normally we manage the jobs in the Jenkins at the bigger level. Okay. So it is something like this. We have a Jenkins. What is the topic for today? Is very important topic, very advanced topic. Okay. What's the topic name? I'll discuss in a 5 minute. But let me first, guys, very, very quickly explain you the entire scenario. Okay. And guys, understand this scenario or this use case. It is very a very important use case, and this is exactly where 90% or more than 90% we leverage the power of Jenkins in the real world. Okay. So let's say you are a developer, same scenario, and you write an app. Again, let's say you write an app in a Java language. Okay, and obviously, what do you do normally as a better practice? You upload your code in SM tool like GitHub. Okay, and now what you want to do with this code? So understand one thing: the best one or best team and best person in your industry that who know what exactly they want to do with this code is your developers, because they are the one who know which language they use. They are the one who know what kind of test we have to do, because they are the one normally who write the test cases most of the time. Okay, maybe with JUnit framework or something else. Okay, or they are the one who know what would be the best tool to build this tool, compile this tool, package this tool, and they are the one who might know which is the best platform or the web server or the app server. Okay, where this app to be deployed. Because they know if this app is written in PHP or this kind of language, HTML. So I want to deploy this code in a web server. Okay, like Apache web server or Apache S3 web server. And if this code is written Java, something like this. So for Java, we need app server like Tomcat or JBoss, something like this. So depending, guys, which language you use, accordingly we have a server available and the software available in the market. So they know which language they use, and they know better better which platform they need as a web server to deploy the code. Okay, so technically, if you want, this code is there in the GitHub, even though they also know where in which URL in the GitHub, which project in the GitHub they uploaded this code. Or maybe this project is private, is not publicly. So obviously they are the one, they are the one who know the credentials and login and password of the private account. So 99%, this is the best team, the best one who know everything, what they want to do with this code. Now, either they do this thing, everything manually, means they manually build the code, um, compile the code, deploy it, test it, or they can use some automation tool that you guys know here. Jenkins is an automation tool you can you can use. Okay, so here we can take the help of Jenkins that you guys know already. But in the Jenkins, okay, what steps we have to perform? Okay, that you guys know already what steps. So first step is we have to go to GitHub to download the code. Then we have to call the Maven that will help me to build, because Maven is a build server. Then we might have to again call Maven. They will test my code. Okay. Then we might maybe contact to some app server. like Tomcat or JBoss to put to deploy a code. Okay, so these are the very typical steps we have. Okay, now interesting thing here is I told you guys already explained you when you guys use Maven to build, it is good practice to build your code not in the master node of Jenkins. Use worker node, either worker node static or create dynamically in Docker or Kubernetes. That will be your choice. But use some worker node. Worker node guys is also known sometimes known as agent node. So build this in agent node. Again, doing testing in other worker node or other agent node maybe. Okay, that support this testing capabilities. Again, to deploy the code, then have to see finally how website look like. Again, like a testing server. So I can say this is my app testing server. Where finally I upload my code in the server so I can test how my final website look like. Okay, so here I also want to deploy in other worker node or other agent. So this thing you guys know already how to do. And typically nowadays it is very much recommended that don't use a pre-created worker node. Create the worker node dynamically, obviously with the container technology. Okay, but every containerized technology we have an image. So create a separate image for this one, separate image for this one because they have different command to use. Separate image for this one. I'm talking about Docker images because they have a different software to use. So finally, the summary is okay. In the requirement the developer has, okay, the requirement is very simple. They want to first build the code, then test the code and deploy the code. Build means compile or package, normally is known as build. Okay, this is what they comment. And normally I want to do build in the worker node 1. I want to do test on worker node 2. I want to do deploy on worker node 3. Because every worker node has their own respective environment, respective command, and respective thing. Okay, so this is a very common requirement. So developers say this is the normal process I want to do. Okay, and I want first do this one, build, then test, and then deploy. And guys, you know this term is not pipeline. So I know my pipeline, what pipeline I want to follow. Other team might have different pipeline. They want to do build and deploy. Other team have different pipeline. They want to build and testing will be different things they want to test. A unit test or some other test they want to do, and then deploy, then further test they want to do. So everybody has a different pipeline, different requirement, different use case. But developers say, I know my requirement, my use case. This is my pipeline I want to set up. Okay. But how to set up this pipeline, you guys know already. This concept we already discussed. Okay, we have created a multiple pipeline with some plugins. Delivery plugin we use, build plugin we use, view we use. So how to create a pipelines, you guys know. We use a concept called triggers of upstream and downstream to create this kind of pipeline. So what are guys concept I am explaining you right now. Everything we have done somehow in some of the classes with practicals. Okay, so why we're discussing this point here? My discussion point over here is to understand one thing. Okay, here the one thing where I'm focusing more is the way you create a pipeline. We did the pipeline, so that time we log in the Jenkins. Okay, and the IT guys or maybe sysadmin guys or system admin guys of the Jenkins who know Jenkins, where we log in to Jenkins and we manually create one separate job for build. Why? Because you guys know already. Okay, whenever we create a job we always assign to worker node. Okay, and this worker node is different, so we create a separate job for this job one. We get job 2, and this job 2 duty is to do a testing. Okay, and this is a very different requirement, very different worker node we need. So job 2 we created and we assign to worker node 2. Then we get job 3, we assign to worker node 3. So 3 jobs we created and every job connected to each other, and then only pipeline created. Who created this pipeline? Salesman. And how they create it? Okay, because they don't know what to create. So they somehow connect to my dev teams, or my dev team has for some readme files or some document. Okay, what steps they want to create, what kind of pipeline they create, and they have to do it. Okay, and accordingly they create a pipeline, maybe they're successful. But technically, it is very cumbersome in the terms of organization or in the terms of management part. every time developer want to create a pipeline or they want to customize a pipeline, add some extra job in between, remove something, that always contact this guy, and this guy manually go to Jenkins and change something. How? Manually. This is what guys I was talking yesterday also. Okay, so what can we do? Instead, these IT guys or these guys will create a job one, then job two, and then job three manually. We ask the developer and say, you create your own job. How? Without logging to Jenkins. Maybe I don't know able to create a job. I won't able to provide my Jenkins logins. Logins. You just create your job. How? While writing a code. How? That's called job as code. And that's what the guy's topic yesterday. And how we create? We use a language called DSL or with the help of Groovy syntax. Okay. And give me all the jobs. Job one, job two, job three. Understand one thing, guys. Job as a code, typically the DSL help you to create one job. So if you have three jobs, okay, job one and job two and job three, three job, it means developer has to create three different jobs. Okay, three different code they have to create, three different DSL file they have to create and provide all the file to IT guys. And there, guys, they inside they go, okay, and create three seed jobs for job one, job two, and job three. And after this job created, then they have to do upstream and downstream, triggers the way we set in the pipeline. So again, my developer can tell what we want in job one and job two and job three, because all the job is created with DSL. Okay, but further part of linking the job upstream, downstream, setting the triggers, creating seed job, everything is managed by my IT guys. Okay, and sudden requirement change, my developer said, no, I want one more job to be added. I want some more thing extra in between. I need one more job to be added, one more work on I need, for example, or one more job I want to add. I create one more DSL file. I provide to you, but this guy had to again create success seed job for this. Again, they change the upstream and downstream. So technically, my whole and full focus here is how to manage the pipeline automatically. Okay, here creating the job automatically by code is so simple. We discussed yesterday and give you a lot of pros, multiple examples we discussed yesterday to create a job with the help of code. That's called DSL. We did. But typically, guys, one job is not enough. Why? We discussed this point already in my last classes about pipeline. You get a lot of jobs to do one setup and to solve one use case. Okay, to like end to end, we have to create a pipeline. Okay, but how this pipeline can be created automatically? Because some of the part of pipeline, like creating job, we can do automate. But how this job connect to each other? How to create a seed job for all the jobs to create? Okay, I also want this setup to be done automatically. So technically, I want my whatever I want to do in my pipeline should be 100% automated. I don't want none of things my sysadmin guys or IT guys will do for me. I don't want they will link this job. They will set the triggers. They will create a seed job also. Everything, the entire pipeline to be done automatically. Okay. And guys, this concept is one of the very advanced concepts. And nowadays, this is the concept in the real world we use actually. This is called pipeline as code. This is the topic for today. Okay. So pipeline as a code, guys, that's what we are going to discuss today. Yesterday, we discussed job as a code. Means one job you can create. But here I'm talking about the entire pipeline you can create as a code. And because the code, it means everything automated. And because everything automated, now we don't have to depend upon my system admin guys. My developer guys would be one, right? They create a job. So they create a code, not for only for the job, for the entire pipeline. Okay. Again, the language will be DSL only, domain specific language. Again, they also have same syntax like Groovy. So they're going to use Groovy only. So almost syntax the same. Okay, syntax the same. But here today, the entire pipeline we are going to create. Okay. And guys, by chance, this concept is so much famous. Yesterday, guys, we used job as a code. We use DSL plugin. By chance, this concept is actually, I believe, if I'm not wrong, you can check the history also. It's been created by Netflix. So the DSL plugin that we created yesterday and the concept of DSL as job as a code is been open sourced by Netflix for Jenkins. Okay, so that was not the native support of Jenkins, the plugin that we used yesterday. Okay, so but pipeline is a core concept for this Jenkins team, and the community has created their own plugin because they create their own plugin. So technically, this plugin is called native plugin, means they created. By chance, the plugin name is for pipeline only. So pipeline is one plugin created by the Jenkins community, and the good thing is because they created, and anything that is created by community has a native support. Native support means almost features whatever they have Jenkins, and they come up in the future in the Jenkins, they will have a support. Okay, so most of the thing, guys, whatever you can do with this plugin today that we are going to use. Okay, most of the thing you guys might able to do with the plugin that I used yesterday. Okay, but one powerful thing about this plugin that we are going to use today is a native plugins. So any new feature coming in Jenkins, they always release for this plugin. Other plugin will take some time to come up with the new feature. That's also extra thing. It's a big difference between the plugin that we used yesterday and today. There's one small difference, but big difference here is we use the job DSL plugin mostly to create job automatically. We have some way there also we can somehow create a plugins, so you create a pipeline. There's a different point, but if your use case is to create a pipeline, there's a very common use case every time you need a pipeline technically. Okay. Okay, then if you want to automate a pipeline, then we can use a concept of pipeline as a code. Okay, and that's the guys' main topic for today. Okay, so let me start from here how we can do it. Okay, so a lot of explanation I have explained to you. Okay, a lot of concepts I explained to you. Okay, but what I guys explained to you, all the concept I already show you practically in the manual way. But you know this concept of pipelines and job and triggers and everything we discussed, guys. So I'm just referring to those classes only. Okay, so don't think this things is a new thing I'm discussing to you. Okay, so I want this job, and this job to be created. Everything be created, linked in our pipeline. Yeah, this is the core idea we want to do, but everything to be done automated. That's the main thing. Okay, so there's a plan. So for this, we have to install a plugin provided by Jenkins guys only. This is called native plugin. I mean, they support this. They created this for us. So for this, you have to install a plugin. I have already installed this plugin for you. Now, name of the plugin is called Pipeline. So if you search for this plugin, okay, you will find a plugin name called Pipeline. I think I have already. So yeah, this is the plugin. So this plugin is a pipeline as a code plugin with Jenkins. Okay, so this plugin, guys, you have to install. Okay, what they do, they will create a pipeline as a code. Very powerful concept, and this is the way we work. So finally, I'll tell my developer and say, now you have your own app of Java or PHP or Python. Okay, or maybe you have an app that have machine learning code or deep learning code. Whatever kind of app you have, all right, just create one more extra code. This called pipeline as a code. Okay, and in this code, write entire pipeline. What process and steps you want to do. So you want to do build. So build would be your one of the step. Test is next step. Deploy next step. Okay. So I will tell this guys. Tell me all of your steps, all the steps, whatever the steps you want to perform it. So I will run and perform all the steps for you. Okay. So it is something like this. So here, guys, you have to tell the steps. Okay. Or I can use one more term here by chance. We can use one more term here because this is a term we're gonna use in our practical today. So we can tell this guy, that what you want to do first. They say I want to do build. Then what? I want to do test. Then what? I want to deploy. Okay. And guys, normally in the build, not only one thing we have to do. Maybe in the build, first you have to compile the code. Then you have to do some packaging of the code, and some more thing, maybe validation or some more thing you have to do. or maybe in testing again, you test the code, so do some more thing. Okay, so technically, if you talk about build, is actually one one part, but this part has a lot of steps to do. So technically here, this is called steps. So my step one would be compile, my step two to be package, maybe more steps we have. And all the steps create my one build stage. So here guys, this is a term actually we normally use. We use that how I want to run my stage called build, then the stage called test, a stage called deploy. But in this stage, I might have multiple steps. Okay, so there's a term actually we normally use in this word. Okay, so that's what we are doing. So technically, because we have a lot of stages, stage one, then stage two, stage three, so it becomes your pipeline. So technically, they create a pipeline for us. Okay, so very quickly, I just want to show you one page also here. So if you go to Jenkins, Jenkins pipeline, you guys might see one URL. I think this one, Jenkins pipeline. Okay, here guys, they talk about the pipeline which we are going to discuss today. And here guys, they they tell you one thing, the one diagram they show you. Okay, this is exactly diagram I am talking and referring right now. Okay, so if I open image in new tab, this diagram actually I'm talking about. Okay, so if you say here, start, if you see in the top, start means your developer. When they upload something SCM like GitHub, my workflow start. Workflow means my pipeline start. Workflow and in the last you see my pipeline and. Okay, but in this workflow or this pipeline, so guys, workflow pipeline is same thing. There's no such different. Okay, and in this workflow, my first stage is check out from SCM, means download the code. Second stage is build. Third stage is test. Fourth stage is deploy. Okay, and if you talk about the let's say test, then you might have integration test, smoke test, end-to-end test, other integration test, okay, regression test. So maybe whatever test you want to do, you can do over here. Maybe unit test. Okay, so a lot of steps we have. An interesting thing is here, because all the steps, maybe some of the steps you can run parallel also. So they have a capability to run all the steps also parallel, or maybe one by one. They will do first build in my build stage, then they package. So they will done one by one as serial. So both the capability they have, they can run in serial order also, one after another. And sometimes they can run in parallel. So they support parallel also. Okay. So this entire setup, if you want to create as a code, manually you can create also, guys. That's what we've done already. Okay, manually. But if you want to create entire setup as a code, then pipeline as a code concept we use. And for this, we are going to use a plugin called Jenkins plugins. This is called pipeline plugin we are going to use. Okay, so that's what we are going to do here. Okay, and guys, this is a very common thing in the market. Okay, developer is the one who create this code for you, or maybe some other team might create this code for you. And this is a very common thing. They create this code in some pre-created file name. Means what I'm talking about. The file name is normally we make it file name we give as a standard file name. Okay, so name of the file where we keep our code is called Jenkins file. Okay, you can change your file name. There's a different point, but this is a standard file name that we always use. So whatever code you create this file and put this file in your code. The good thing about this file is, so you can think this concept is like a Docker file. So if you guys, anybody who know how to get Docker images, so the code of the Docker image is we put in the Docker file only, where D is capital. Okay, so this is naming convention of this file where we put the code. Okay, you can change also. There's a different point, but this standard name where we keep our code. Okay. And good thing about this file is, good thing about this file is whenever my developer create the app, whenever my developer create the app, with the app, they write entire pipeline code in a file called Jenkins files. And this app plus this code they upload in the GitHub. Okay. And the good thing about Jenkins is when they download this code, what they download entire app plus this file. And when Jenkins see this file, they know the file name and they automatically come to know, hey, it means this file exists. It means this is a pipeline of the code. It means I have to get a pipeline. So they automatically create a pipeline for you, and whatever instruction you write there, run it, they will run for you. Something like this, we'll see, guys. It's a long topic. Maybe today, tomorrow, this topic will go. So technically, it's good practice. We'll see, guys. There's some practical for this. Okay. So this is a very commonly standard file name we use here. But you can change. There's a different point. But that time you do manually run the code or the file. Okay. So plan is, guys, today we are going to create pipeline as a code. That's the main point we are going to discuss today. And for this, you have to use a domain-specific language. Again, Groovy, somehow same kind of syntax there. But by chance, guys, this pipeline as a code support two different languages. One is declarative and one is imperative. Okay. So what is the difference? I will discuss, guys, maybe tomorrow. Two languages support. One is declarative and one is imperative. Imperative also known as scripted language. So they support two different types of language or two different syntaxes. What is the difference? We'll see, guys, maybe tomorrow. Right now, I'm just going for the normal flow, how to create a code. But two different language or two different syntax they support. What do I feel like you can use it? What is the difference? We will see, guys, in the next class, maybe tomorrow. Okay. But these are some common vocabulary I just want to tell you here. So important vocabulary here is stages and the steps. So let me, guys, go and create quickly one pipeline. Let's see how it look like. Okay. So I'll go here. I go to install this plugin. Okay. And install the pipeline plugin, only pipeline. There's a lot of name with pipeline. Only install pipeline. You can see also this detail. This plugin you install. And let me create one quick document for you. Okay. And I'll put here. So give me one place. So guys, whatever your use case would be. Okay. Now, guys, try to create all of the use case, all of the implementation of your pipeline or the entire code or the job using the pipeline. More and more you practice, you become more and more conceptually sound in this particular topic. Okay. So you install this particular plugin. So I'm sharing in your document as your reference, for your reference. Okay. So let me start from here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new job. Understand one thing. Now this is not a job. We are going to create a pipeline. And pipeline you can give any name. Let's say this is a pipe 1. Okay. And guys, this might be first time in our class. We are not selecting freestyle project. We are going to select a pipeline. So this option, guys, we are going to select because technically we are not going to create a job. We are going to create a lot of jobs, plug together, and it create a pipeline. Okay. It is also known as a workflow. So when I say pipeline or workflow, it is the same thing. Okay. And it is a way to organizing your multiple activity together. That's the whole and soul plan. It also help you to use multiple builds agents. Means multiple worker node you can plug. That's what, guys, this is what I actually explained to you. Okay. So all the stages I want to run in different agent or worker node. Okay. So these are the use cases if you have, then this plugin you use. And when you install this plugin pipeline, this also option automatically come up here. Okay. So let me go and check. And I guys see this page look very different. So if you use pipeline, there's a different option going to come up. Build triggers or post build and all the things. But these are very different options come up because we are into different UI or different page in different kind of projects. This project is the pipeline project. Okay, and here most of the solutions are almost same. Why? Because because normally code we put in GitHub, not the project code we put in the GitHub, which code pipelines code. And here that's the thing, guys. We have also more about GitHub and other SM too. Okay, so as soon my developer upload the code of this pipeline in some SM tool, so these guys should have capability to set the trigger for. They will see pretty straightforward, but these are something that we already discussed. But main thing here is this one, where you can put your pipeline. Okay, now just for testing, you can, or maybe just for implement also, you can directly put your code here and run it the way I did yesterday with job DSL plugin. Or mostly we don't do in this way. Always, guys, get the plugin from SM. Okay, so we can tell our SCM, let's say GitHub, and tell the URL, the download, and whatever the data they download, they look for this file. That's what I'm talking about. They by default they find and look for this file. This is your program file name. It's a by default name, like in Docker, we have Docker file, something like this. Okay, they look for this file. If they find this file, they feel now this, they have to get a pipeline. They read the code and accordingly they do it for you. But we can change the name, but this is a standard in the market, but we can change the name also here. The different point, let me go here. We'll see this practical afterwards, but let me go and manually create the pipeline. Okay. So let's go, guys, and create our own pipeline. And for this, we have to use a keyword called pipeline, and we put everything inside this block. Okay, and what's the plan? What do we have to do? Okay, we have to create a stages. How many stages I have to create? Depend, guys, my requirement. Here I have 3 stages: build, test, and deploy. Or because you have a lot of stages, so there's a reason we have a keyword called stages. Stage start, stage close. Okay, now how many stages you want to create? 2, 3. So let's say I want to create first stage. What is the name of the stage? You can give anything. Let's say, let me give the name called build. It is just a name, you can give anything. But according to my plan, I want to create a stage called build. Okay, so what you want to do in this stage? So understand, guys, one thing, the way I told you, in this stage, you have multiple steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. So multiple steps you have. But let me do a small thing here. Here I'm going to run one command just for testing. Let's say date command. So this stage we're gonna run date command for. Or let me use a command called echo. Okay, and say my first step in build stage. I'm just printing something. That's all, guys. So one pipeline created that has only one stage in it. Okay, so pretty straightforward and simple pipeline we have created. Just for testing, let's go and very quickly test it is working or not. Okay, and let's do the rest. But understand one thing, I just forgot to tell, add one thing here. So this is stage, and the stage you have multiple steps. So you have to write obviously here keyword for steps. Step start and step stop. Okay, so all the steps that you have, okay, echo command, Maven command, okay, git something. So all the command or their particular method, whatever they give to you, we'll see more on this. We have to write it. It's something like this. Okay, so pretty simple. A pipeline has been created. Okay, let's go and test this pipeline. So for this, let me save this. Okay, and now understand one thing. Okay, because now this pipeline plugin is a plugin for creating a pipeline. You don't need any delivery pipeline plugin or build pipeline plugin. This is the independent plugin, and this plugin has its own personal UI or visuals. Okay, you don't have to create any of the view like this, the way we had created. And most interesting thing is the way they are going to organize. Now you don't have to create multiple jobs also and create, the the triggers or upstream, downstream kind of things. Okay, everything they plug and put in one single box. Okay, now you don't have to worry about other jobs to be created, other job to be made. You can think, guys, now here the job is non-stage. So this is stage 1, this is stage 2, this is stage 3. Every job is doing one thing for you. One job is building for you, one is testing for you, one is deploying for you. Okay, so here, guys, now we don't have a concept of jobs. Okay, instead of the jobs, okay, whatever you normally do in the one job, we create a one stage. So this is job 1, means stage 1, stage 2, job 3, means stage 3. Okay, so now management inside the Jenkins also been changed. We don't have to get the jobs and link each other. Everything in one single job by chance. Okay, but technically here is called pipeline. Okay, we don't have a data here. There's no graphical UI. So because we haven't run this pipeline, but if you build this, okay, they run, they fail because, let's see, I know the answer, most probably because of my steps, but let me check. So they say, there's other reason actually by chance. They say in pipeline, you miss the agent. Obviously, guys, this is the verb, but obviously, you're running the pipeline with some stages. Okay, and Groovy is the one who give the error behind the scene. So behind the scene, Groovy is running your code. So, so they fail because they say, I don't know where to run this. You have to run this in this worker node or in your slave node. Okay, so here I can do one thing. I'll tell I want to use agent. Okay, so here I don't have a slave agent by chance. So I can say what are agent available right now? You can use any. So the keyword called any. So the keyword we have agent. Any is a keyword, means whatever the execute available or node available, you can run this. But here we can pass some other option. No, I want to run only in Docker, only in Kubernetes, only in slave 1 or slave 2. So these kind of keyword you can put here. I'll show you in the future. Any means wherever it is available, you can run the job there. So I think this error because of this. Okay, let me again build. Okay, this time, guys, they run, and now, guys, here this this pipeline has their own web UI, own visuals, and they create this kind of view for you. In the top, they tell you your stage name, or you can think is a job name. They tell you the time and something. And here, guys, if you take the mouse here, they tell you the logs. Normally, the logs they show you the output of this job, and job guy here is known as stage. And they show you this is the output because we use echo command. So this output they printed for us. Okay, so this job, this is not known a job now. Now this is non actually pipeline. Okay, this is pipeline. Now let me do some more thing in this pipeline. So I'll go again configure, and let's do one thing. Let me add more stages. Okay, so from here till here we have one stage. Let me create one more stage here. You can give any name. Let me give the name called testing. And here I can say this is my test stage. Okay, my test stage. And let me add one more stage here. Okay, copy. Okay, and now let's set this deploy state. And now again, can I understand one thing? This stage is exactly equal to jobs. And in the job, what are steps you write, you can write here. Okay, I can add a deploy stage, or let's say in this job, I will write sleep command as a one step. Okay, here I can write one more sleep command as a one step. Okay, and something like this. Okay, so stage is job, and one job, second job, then third job, run one by one in a sequence is called a pipeline. So we have created a pipeline. By the way, they're running in individual, but we can configure to run in separate agent also. We'll see afterwards. Okay, let me save this file. Again, build. And now, guys, you can see your this started, and it is almost complete. First is done, second is running, then third is deployment coming. So this kind of visuals you can see over here in the top. And complete detail view come up. Everybody has a log. You can see there that they will provide you the output. So they say they done 2 steps. First step is print message, and this is output. Second step is sleep. There is no SS output for sleep. So here they show you per stages or per jobs logs. Okay, and plus all the durations, how much time they're gonna consume. They show you everything. Okay, and here also again they go for stage full view, and here they show you the complete output. So normally, guys, maybe some IT person can use this view and see what is going on, and a lot of things we can plan. So we see some more thing here is one of the simple pipeline as a code we have built to give you the idea and give you the vocabulary what is happening behind this. And here also, guys, you can just go and see the console output. Console output, and here they show you in very detail that this pipeline is started, like a workflow is started, and pipeline and means workflow, and it is something like this. The diagram that I showed to you, this kind of diagram is workflow start and workflow end. Between this, we have multiple stages. Okay, so here we have multiple stages. So stage 1, we have echo and slip cover. 2 steps we have. Okay, so same thing here. You see 2 steps in every stage, or 3 steps, 4 steps. Okay, so this is a console output. You can see, and they will show you what exactly happening. Okay, so this is the one of the simplest example to explain you what normally happen. Okay, and how to create a pipeline as a code. But lots of things we can do on the top of this idea, okay, of how to create a pipeline as a code. Okay, but I just want to keep this topic till now, till here. Okay, we'll create some great example tomorrow on the top base of this topic. Okay, right now just giving you 1 or 2 small concept, different concept related to Jenkins, not about this topic, but at least you guys now get the idea. Okay, that better than job DSL, where we create 1 per job wise code. If you have a comment, you can go for it. I already showed you yesterday. But typical use case, we always need a pipeline. So better we can go for this plugin and practice in this particular plugin. That makes more sense. Okay, so I keep this topic till now. I just want to quickly explain 1 small topic of Jenkins. Not that I respect this topic. This corporate topic is not completed. We'll see some more detailed discussion on the code tomorrow. Okay, but right now what I'm doing here, I'm just showing very quick information about 1 small concept. I'm going for typical job. Let's say a job 1. It's a freestyle job, same way we always do. Okay. And okay. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to run a command, a normal typical command called shell. Okay. And let's say the command is echo let's go. Simple, right? So nothing complex here. Save and build. So simple output will come up, and you can see output lines will come up. But here, if you talk about this project, whenever you build this project, they always give you lines word as output. Why? Because I fixed this string in my code or in my script. So I can say this is my hard coded string. Always they give output lines word. I don't want this. I want when this job run. Okay, before the job run, they ask me as an input which string you want to print. Okay, it is something when you run the program, before the program will ask you as an input function, and then you give the input, and whatever input you give, it will be updated here in a variable, and the value of the variable echo will print for you, or whatever, maybe not echo, you can do some other things also. So technically, if you want your job will run, before the run, they ask you the input, then that input guys normally is stored in the variable, and variable is also known as parameter. Then this job is, then for this we have to create a parameterized job. And for this, in the top we have option called this project is parameterized, is not ticked, so I can say tick it. Okay, and here I can add a variable or the parameter. And now you have multiple choices you have. Okay, what kind of variable you want to create? A Boolean, your choice parameter, choice like multiple boxes you have, okay, or multi-line string, password parameter. So multiple different kind of variables you have. Anybody who know HTML language, HTML we have form, and multiple different kind of input text input types we have. Boolean types or password type or text type or radio box type or checkbox type. So it's something like this. Okay, let me go for string parameter. And here, guys, you can tell, let's say your string name is X. So X here is a variable name, also known as parameter. Okay, that's all. And if you want to give some description, say this is parameter for testing. So some basic description I can put here. Okay, and that's all. So it's so simple, guys, to create a parameter. Now it is your choice where you want to use this variable. So my plan, guys, in this job, instead of this one, I can use this variable here. Okay, and because I'm in the shell, and guys, in the shell, if you want to use any variable, you have to use $. Okay, so this variable is actually work like your environmental variable, right? And if you want to use any environmental variable, this is normally syntax you use in the command line of shell. Okay, save it. Now this time, what happened when I run my job? You can even see your option also change here. Now they write, instead of build now, they write build with parameter. So if I click here, now before my job build, they ask me with the description with my variable name, tell me your value of this variable. Let's say I'm putting Vimal. So Vimal is the data, go to the variable or parameter, and this parameter will, guys, go in my build of my job, and according to my job run. Now here my job is running. And where in my job, where I use X as a variable, in any of the steps, okay, they retrieve, and accordingly they will print it. Okay, so printing is a very simple thing, but this concept we can use in lots of different examples, right? For example, very simple example, maybe here I can create one box of radio button or Boolean true or false, and I can say, okay, do you want to test this code? You have a Java code. Do you want to test yes or no? So if you say yes, then only Maven test command run, otherwise they don't. Or do you want to deploy this code or not? Yes or no? Okay. Or which command you want to run? Okay. Or do you want to run this command or not? Or tell me your command name. So I can tell my command name date. What command I type here, that command will run. Okay. So guess here, by chance, I place this command after echo, so they print it. So I have to build my job, obviously. So let it build with the date. Okay, so this job run, because I use date, I put date in the string, and the string I put after echo, so they print as a date as a string. But you want to run as a command, pretty simple, you guys know. You can just go to config file, and instead of echo command, you can directly put your variable name. So what happened? This variable name converted into value would be date, and their treat that string would be as a command, so date command will run. So technically, now my project become a little bit dynamic. It is called parameterized. So based on my input, accordingly they will run that particular job. Or maybe let's say you want to deploy a Docker container. So that time you ask, the guys will ask which image you want to use to deploy the container. Okay, so that kind of things you can also do. So hundreds of things you can do it, right, to implement, to use the parameter. So we have a lot of examples come up where we use the parameter. Why I take this topic? Because it's a very small topic, you should know. But in my code also, we're going to write this parameter. Okay, so we can put a lot of parameters in our code, in pipeline as a code. So when a project run, so depend upon the stage, which stage you put your variable or the parameter, they show you pop up, and whatever value you pass, accordingly your stage and job gonna run. But this is a by default facility from the Jenkins that support. So that's a small thing I just want to tell you, and that's all. Okay, but a lot of different kind of parameters we have based on a requirement. What kind of parameter you want to use. So you can add a lot of parameter, one more parameter you can add for choice, for Boolean. Okay, either value is true or false. You can set some default values. Okay, Okay, so if nobody will pass any value, I will pass a date always. So you can set the default value also here when you build, or a date come up. Okay, so this thing also you can do. So that's all guys for today. Main topic for today that I started is called pipeline as a code, and I use pipeline plugin. Typically, this concept is also known as Jenkins file. So if you heard this topic, Jenkins files, it is exactly equal to pipeline as a code in Jenkins. Okay. So that's all for today. See you tomorrow. Any quick queries, guys, if you have, you guys can ask. Any questions if you have. No, Vinith, guys, you can't use job as a code for pipeline as a code. The syntax is different. The management is different. You can see here we have stages, we have a stage, right? So syntax is groovy. If you see, guys, here we use curly brace and everything. Syntax is groovy, but the syntax means the keyword that you use and the flow we use is different. So job as a uh, code you can't use in the pipeline as a code. Okay, you create a different code for this. Okay, so that's a lot. So I'm looking for the next question. So I'm using Kubernetes pod as agent pipeline, but pod start and go into fail state. Aman, most probably, I have show you multiple troubleshoots while I providing this demo to you, Kubernetes pod. Most probably you might miss the enabling the GNLP agent port number in the Jenkins. Okay, just go and do it. Okay, most probably. Okay, or maybe you might forget to tell Jenkins URLs in the configuration part of your Kubernetes setup, right, in the Jenkins. Just take two things. This is why this is very common. This two is a very common region of fail state. Okay, I'm considering, Aman, that you're using the same image that I used. Okay, because if you choose use a different image might not have an agent available, so they will always fail. Okay. Yes, Piyush primary customer is very much useful in pipeline as a code because I want to create a job in such a way that my job sometimes prompt me, ask me what you want to do next. And based on the input, job will do the further steps. So most probably, I feel Nishant, they are using a doubly linked list in the Docker image layers. Okay. Yes, Onkar will do shell scripting class soon. Don't worry. Uh, yes, so as you can also do, you can create a multiple job as a code and then put in the pipeline. That's also you can do, but maybe it's harder to manage. So better we can create one Jenkins files. Let's go pipeline as a code, and one single code will manage all the jobs and plug together the way I started today. So, so technically, uh, it is all about organizing the thing and managing the thing. That's the main thing we should focus on. Yes, Hina, we can put conditions in the pipeline as a code for different stages and different order. So we can put the condition over here. Don't worry, Ajmal. It is a phase of life. Failing is very important, right? So, how to create plugin? Pankaj, yes, we can create a plugin. Multiple different language you can use to create a plugin. All right. More possible for this training, I definitely try somehow to touch this point, how to create a plugin for something, depending upon which technology you know. I definitely try somehow to touch this point. No, as such, iOS Groovy, we don't have too much worry about a spacing concept. Like I think you're talking about indentation, so as such, we don't require in the Groovy. Yes, Ish. I also wanted Splunk 10 to be launched. Very much critical tool, very important tool, but challenge is the time only. No, Kubernetes Manish, we already did right now. We just completed somewhere in the completion phase, so now no plan future again for Kubernetes. Yes, Firoz, you can also give the password while running the job by parameterize. There's an option called parameter for password. It's a sensitive data. You can do it, but I don't know what actually use case is. But if you want some password also to pass in password form or secret form, you can pass it. I'll take some example for this. There are also way guys you can store the password in some secret place in Jenkins. It's called credential place, and Jenkins will also get the password from there. Okay, that's also one of the way flows I will definitely try to take in my next classes. So when we get opens a hard copy, I don't think so, guys. Nowadays, Reddit don't provide hard copy, according to my knowledge. I suggest Pratik, you can contact to our team. So if you are part of DO180, for example, so Reddit give you soft copy of the book from the portal, whatever you will have or you have maybe you can download from there. According to my knowledge, so they stop providing hard copy books, maybe because of COVID. That's Vinod, what you're asking here for summer program, that would be your fee and planning and priority, right? You have to prioritize, set the priority, what program will give you and help you for your future goal, right? So again, I'm just trying to find some queries related to today's class. What do we have to Jenkins? Right now, yes, you're in Jenkins. I think you're talking about next courses. Most probably, maybe Terraform will update you. And how to make job trigger so that we can take a job creation from outside Jenkins. I don't know, Abhinav, what you're talking about, but how to job creation triggers we know already, right? And one more thing about guys about pipelines of code. Here we can set the triggers. But if you go to job DSL, they have to use a seed job extra to create a new job. So they have a dependency there. So it's a little bit not looks good in terms of management. But here, just one page, one job, you can set a triggers also here. And anything new code come up in the GitHub as a pipeline code, they will recreate your pipeline for you. So you can set the trigger from wherever guys you get the code for pipeline. Yes, so here we can put the variables in the Jenkins files. what is Jenkins URL? Giraja, in my class of Kubernetes integration of code at that time, I told you Jenkins URL is the URL of your Jenkins. That's all. So in my case, you see in the top 1.5 8080 is a URL. How we connect different workspaces for different stages. Uh, I don't understand, Piyush, exactly what you're asking. If you recreate your question over here, but if you think workspace means you're talking your storage, okay. So we have a little bit discussion on this, okay. So in the pipeline, which and where they create a workspace, and they create a centralized one single workspace. So then getting the data from this workspace by different stages is not big issue. Okay, but I don't know what exactly you're asking about workspace. If you have give more clarity, I might help you. Divya, Flutter thing, I now won't take. I already developed one batch, but by chance in a summer, I because of the Amros platform we are going to create for the Jazba platform to socket the startups. So that is the reason I again taking one more batch of Flutter only for the summer guys. Subhasari, don't worry. It is very common. Sometimes we feel depressed, right?